This is the SNAP 2013 tutorial for the supports wall tab. And when you first see this, when you first select this tab, you'll see a construction tab that specifies when the wall should be built. And so we can come in here and set the construction sequence to 1 for this top wall. So it'll be so that it just means that the first staging cut will begin at construction sequence 1. And we need to have this so that if we have multiple walls, we can tell when each wall is built. And they can overlap, or you can complete one and then start the next one. And then it has a skip cuts, allows us to skip staging cuts. So if I skip staging cut, well let me just show if I set the construction number to 0, then you'll see this is the existing slope here. I'm going to move the wall over a little bit, so I'm going to go to the slope tab and move the center over here a little bit, just so we can see this wall. And I'm going to scale it up a little bit. This way we can see how these staging cuts work. So I'll go back to the supports and wall tab, and now if I set this to construction number 1, what it does is it will cut a staging cut between the first and second nails and then come out to intersect the existing slope. And if I set it to 2, it'll make the next cut after nail 2. And it will install nail 1, but it won't install nail 2, because if I want to go to the global stability, which I'll just check that real quick, and it says that the factor of safety is 1.92. I have the scale set too high, so those numbers are outside. But it allows me to check the factor of safety without both nails installed, so that it's the more critical case when only one nail is installed, and of course you'll install a second nail fairly soon after that. Okay, and then I can go to construction cut 3, and you can see the progression here is it will make another construction cut between the next 2 nails and install the first 2 nails, but not the third one. Okay, now I'm going to change this back to 0, and then I can skip staging cuts by typing in numbers into the skip cuts. And so if you move the mouse over this tab, it'll say at the status bar that you can skip a staging cut to allow for larger cuts. So say I wanted to skip staging cut number 2. So I'll just put that in. And then whenever I move to construction number 1, then it should look exactly the same as before when I had this staging cuts. Okay, you can see it's in between nail 1 and 2, but it hasn't installed nail 1 yet, so we can test the factor of safety for that. But now if I go to construction sequence number 2, or construction number 2, then it's going to skip that second staging cut. So you can see that it looks like the third staging cut because it's in between the third and fourth nail. But it only has the first nail installed, whereas without the staging cuts it would have the first 2 nails installed. So since we're skipping a staging cut, we're going to cut 2 at once, and then we want to test if the factor of safety is okay if we skip that cut there. So we can go to the Bishop tab and just temporarily look at the factor of safety is still 1.93 with only that 1 nail there. So this just shows that we could skip 1 or more staging cuts. this way. So I'm just going to set the construction number back to 20, and the skip cuts, I'll just, to delete that, to remove all of the cuts, you just leave it blank, and then it won't skip any staging cuts. Okay, and then we can come in down to the next one and set the wall. And we're going to say that since this is a upper cast in place, so it's got a permanent facing, so we're going to change the facing from the default, which is temporary, which is the first facing we created, to permanent. And then it tells you how many horizontal and whaler bars we'll have in this wall. And we can type in the base of the wall. Actually, I can take the base of the wall and move the mouse over it, and it'll turn magenta. And I can click and drag it. But since it's doing a lot of calculations in between each one, you may need to release the mouse and then not move the mouse for about a second. Otherwise, it will move the mouse and maybe put your wall somewhere where you don't want it to be. So you just have to be a little bit patient while it's calculating things. You can also grab the top of the wall and click and then move and hold down the mouse left key while you're doing that, and then release the mouse left key, but don't move the mouse, and for a second or so, just so it registers that way. And you can also change the cantilever distance from the top of the wall by clicking that second little ball there. And then the third ball here controls the spacing of the nails. So you can click that and move that. And then this, at the end of the nail here, allows you to move all of the nails and change their inclination, angle, and length if they're uniform. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and type in the base of the wall here as 25 and 40. And then I'll say the wall height is 20, and inclination, the batter angle, I'll make that 10. And I'll make this a 300-foot wide wall, going in and out of the screen. And let me go back to the slope and just adjust this scale and the center down so we can see things a little, but we can see the entire project here. Okay, that probably is okay. I'll drop it down a little bit. All right, so next I'm going to create a second wall and go through that wall tab as well. So I'll go ahead and click this to create a second wall. Okay, and it took a few seconds to do that, and it's doing a lot of calculations in the background. I'm going to call this wall the lower shotcrete wall. So now I'm going to go to this wall, and I need to change the construction sequence number. And in this case there's 6 nails, so I would want to change that to 7. However, I know that in the design I'm going to be making, I'm only going to have 4 nails in the top, so I'm just going to change this to 5 for now, and then I'll come in and I'll set it for the nails later. And this is going to be a temporary facing. And the base of this wall is going to be at 0 and 20. And it will have a, let's see, it'll be a 20-foot wall with 10-degree batter angle. And also this will be a 300-foot wall, 300-foot wide wall. And this pretty much covers the supports wall tab.